What's going on, guys? It's Clayton. I just wanted to give a first impressions about Black Ops 6, some problems and some good things. No face cam today. I look like a fucking ogre, and not like the hot, sexy ogre like Shrek, more of like an ugly, nasty ogre like Lord of the Rings Gollum or something. To start off with the good things, I'm just going to be really quick. I want to focus on the negatives and kind of what Treyarch can like fix. But good things, gunplay feels great, movement feels great. I couldn't like the Omni movement feels really good. I still don't like tac sprint. I think we should remove tac sprint from the game. There's just no reason to have like 3 different movement speeds. Camo grind feels good. The problem with leveling though, leveling does have an issue. Leveling feels really slow. Now with leveling feeling slow, prestige is coming really slow, weapon levels are coming really slow. I do like though with weapon levels that you don't have to like level up to start the camo grind. The camo grind is just free balling from level 1, which is really nice. I do see the camo grind getting a little tedious as I continue to progress. You know, it is 100 headshots. I think it leads on to like 2,000 headshots or 5,000 headshots at the very end. I saw a bunch of people throwing around numbers. I don't know how true that is. Graphics, the game looks beautiful graphically. I can't complain about that. The lighting looks good. Bullet registration feels really nice. Everything that was good about the beta hasn't really changed, and it's kind of only gotten better from the beta. But the question is, how much better did it get? And the truth is, it did get a little bit better, but not a lot was improved on, in my opinion. There is still a lot of performance issues that I've been hearing from a bunch of people online. I myself haven't experienced a lot of performance issues, but I do know it exists. I've seen live streams where people are, you know, getting kicked from zombies matches. I've only had a few really bad lag spikes, I think were server issues. Now, before I do get into the negatives, I do think this is a really good Call of Duty game. In my opinion, I think this will be one of my favorites next to Cold War. So if you're like me and you liked Cold War, you're definitely going to enjoy this game. If you like fast movement, if you like Modern Warfare 3, it has good movement, great gunplay, great leveling system. The classic prestige is back, and zombies, which I'll have a different section later, is a really good experience overall. And if you're not too keen on buying the game, of course, you can always get it on Game Pass. If you're still on the fence about it and this doesn't like convince you or inform you, I will have a more in-depth guide that is past my first impressions in about a week or so, when I completely play everything, when I prestige, when I finish Dark Matter. But getting into the negatives, I think the first obvious one is maps, and holy shit, it's not as bad as a lot of people say, but it is not good. I will say no maps in this game I would consider like good or great maps. All of them are kind of just okay, mid, or just bad maps overall. I only think there's like one really dog shit map. Like the worst map in the entire game has to be like Pit. Yeah, this map right here. Fuck this map. I played most of the other like core maps, the Big 12, and in my opinion, there is an obvious issue with just design philosophy. And the problem is that these people genuinely do not know how to make a game flow and are overcomplicating how players should play a map. It feels like they're trying to put 100 different play styles and flow of just like, oh, but you can do this angle and you can fight from this, or do this, or you have to be careful of this, and what if a player wants to, you know, peek this corner, or what if a player wants to just rush and they can just go right through the middle. Like all this bullshit just leads to this really convoluted mess of a fucking map where you have people hiding in corners. Doors are also in the game. Fuck, get doors out of here. Ever since doors have been introduced, I definitely think it has played into the philosophy of maps, and it kind of brings to the discussion, how do you make a map? And a lot of that goes down to make a 3-lane map, and in my opinion, 3-lane maps are really good, but then sometimes 3-lane maps are overused if you're not making them unique enough, if you're not adding to them, because you don't have to make a 3-lane map so fucking jarring that it's a 3-lane map like Das Haus, which is the most like literally just, hey, here's 3 lanes. You can do other stuff with that. What the problem is because the way that a 3-lane map feels so similar, a lot of people just get sick of that design philosophy. But I've always thought that a 3-lane map just gives you like the best way to, can I get a fucking different map than these? Holy shit. Because if Treyarch does just make a bunch of 3-lane maps, if they're not like unique enough from each other, and they don't have like, because you don't have to have just a straight center lane map. No, you can do a lot of things with it. You can turn it, you can convolute it, you can cut off lanes at certain points. But right now it just feels like if IW just put its foot on the chest of Treyarch and just made these really fucked up maps. I really don't get it. A lot of people are saying these are the worst maps ever, saying they're like, you know, 2019 maps are better. I completely disagree. I do not think these are the worst set of maps that we've ever gotten. I definitely think there are at least one or maybe multiple games where it is, give me fucking Steakhouse. What is this? But in terms of having like really bad unplayable maps, I only think there's like 2, maybe 3 unplayable maps that I have played, Hit being one of them. There's one core map that I really can't stand. Give me Stakeout. Like what the fuck is this? Just overall, I just think all the maps are just okay, and if just kind of bad. I don't think they're the worst thing ever. You can't play them, or you just you're encouraged to camp all the time. No, it's not like that. It's just, you can definitely tell that there's a problem. Another problem is the spawn logic. Now, I will admit, from the beta, closed beta was the worst spawns I have ever seen since like 2019's shipment. The spawns were dog shit. There was no logic. There was nothing about it, and it was just horrible. Now, I will admit, in the open beta and on launch, the spawns have gotten better, but for me, there's just way too many instances where the logic is kind of just forcing players in a certain position when there is just like no reason to put them there. Like, I should not spawn in front of an enemy, or enemies should spawn directly behind me if they're like less than like 10 meters behind me. It is actually fucking ridiculous. But I will say, compared to like closed beta, open beta, it does make more sense, but they're just not there yet. They definitely still need some work. Now, my last point about maps, I'm playing the stakeout map right now, and I actually have a problem with this map being in the game. I do not think on launch that you should have a map this fucking small. It is just promoting the shipment idea that, in my opinion, isn't that great. I don't like just having these super fastest engagements ever. Just has like zero brain activity. Usually when you're playing Call of Duty, you have to wait until like season 1 nowadays to get shipment or Nuketown or whatever the fuck it is. Now the fact that we have these maps on launch, it's just, oh well, now it's just peak brain rot and grind day 1. Now I should actually be loving these because, you know, I'm doing mastery camos, I'm going after dark matter, this is good for me, and I agree, but it's just like, I think for the overall health of the game, it just makes it so you don't want to play other maps, because of course you're going to want to like get the most kills faster, because it just gives you more dopamine, it gives you more enjoyment over the game. I think my next really big problem is skill-based matchmaking, and holy fuck, dude. I have recently been going after the rocket launcher challenges, and I've been kind of doing this all day. I'm doing one right now, and something that I've noticed is just like, it's so much more stubborn now. It does not want to put you in those lower lobbies if you go negative like 100 times. It doesn't fucking matter how many times you go negative. They want you to be in those high tier games because you have proved for long enough, whether it is a 10 game streak, that you are that type of player. So if you go down, they don't give a fuck anymore. Most Call of Duty games kind of have that like 3 game on, 3 game off type of vibe with the skill-based matchmaking. This is just, you're just in hell constant. Now I will say, I've always thought this, that they do have a way to like change how strict skill-based matchmaking is from time to time. In my experience, I've always felt that skill-based matchmaking gets a lot worse around releases, around seasonal releases. In the beta, it was really bad, and I knew in the beta that it was going to be really bad. So of course it makes sense on launch of this game that it is like really tight. The reason I say that is just because I've had way too many times while playing Modern Warfare 3 that just in the middle of the game's year, while nothing was going on, it felt more loose. It felt better to play, and I wasn't going negative almost at all, and I can consistently play with like a 1.5 to a 2 KD in almost all my games without, you know, losing my fucking mind. But then as we got closer to Black Ops 6, you know, it started to get really tight, and I started to get pissed off. So now whether that's true or not, I don't know. That's just from my personal experience over the last 2 years. But as of right now, it feels so fucking bad to play this game. I did hear that if you are playing with friends, the experience is much better and it's kind of looser. Now, I don't have a lot of friends that kind of play Call of Duty. I do have one guy that I consistently play with, but he's been busy working recently, so I don't know like the experience on that. Usually it is like still really strict, but who knows. A problem with a lot of these face-off maps, if you are grinding them, they end way too fucking fast. There's no reason for these maps to end in like 2 minutes. I think Jev today talked about a match being done in a minute 45. It's actually ridiculous how fast some of these maps are going, and it feels like because of this skill-based matchmaking trying to put me in these really hard lobbies, I spend more time loading into these lobbies than I actually do playing the game. Now of course, when you're playing normal 6v6 core game modes, it's not going to feel like that, but I still think the amount of time that it takes to get into a match is fucking ridiculous. It takes minutes to get into a match. In terms of weapon balancing, I think everything's fine. The only negative I would have for weapon balancing is centering on sniper rifles. The centering is not centered if you aim in on a sniper rifle. What I mean by this, if I go in and I look, why is my frame rate so bad? Holy shit. I have my crosshair right on his head right now. It's pretty much centered, and if I aim in, it's going to different spots on his head. It goes a little up, it goes a little bit to the left, a little bit to the right, up. That is a big fucking problem. And usually what would happen is you would aim in and it would be completely centered before it started moving around for like a split second. I am not playing this map. See, like, what is up with the philosophy? Like, how do you come up with this as a Call of Duty developer? That looks like shit. Now, it just sucks to have to use a fucking attachment to do this when I really don't need to, especially when I can use something else. Sniper rifles in this game are also really slow. If you were wondering, they're kind of like Cold War, but they're not that slow. I think we're around like, I think the fastest that you can get a sniper rifle rifle is 230 milliseconds, which feels really nice, and I think it is with this sniper rifle, the Frostline, so that's really good. By the way, camos in this game look beautiful. I love all the camos. Gold looks really nice and pristine. Diamond looks really good, and I cannot wait to get my hands on Dark Spine and Dark Matter. I don't even know what map I'm going into. Please be a good one. Yeah, that's kind of all of my gripes with the multiplayer. It might just seem like, oh my god, you have so much to complain about. That is because there just is more to talk. When you have good things, it's easier to kind of just like go over it if it's not like a revolutionary change, and it's more easier to focus on the negatives, because the negatives, of course, always stick out more than the positives, because the positives, no matter what, get taken for granted. It's kind of like being sick. When you get sick, you finally appreciate how good you had it and like what it felt like to be healthy. You don't really realize how good everything is until it's not. So in my opinion, yeah, it's kind of like being sick. See, because when you get sick, you realize how good things you take for granted are, like sleeping or not coughing or having a stuffy nose, being able to breathe with your nose, something that is obviously fucking amazing, but you're not going to glaze it because usually it works all the time. Now to talk about zombies. Zombies, in my opinion, is really good this year. I'm really enjoying zombies. I've only played Terminus though. I haven't played Liberty Falls. I'm going to save that for a video that I think I'll do later. I've played about 3 games of Terminus, 1 on my own. I played 2 co-op games, got to about round 35, I think 40 maybe, and X-filled. In my opinion, if you're very hard stuck on Black Ops 3 and that whole like idea, you're not going to like this Call of Duty. But if you're open to like a cool zombies experience, I do think this is a really good zombies experience. I've had a great time with it. There's only a few negatives that I have, but to start with the positives, you have the classic HUD, which in my opinion does give you a really good classic experience. You don't have the XP, you don't have the health, you don't have the mini map. So I think they did a good job on the classic HUD. All the Easter eggs look really well done. The Terminus boss is probably one of the best bosses that we have ever gotten in zombies. One thing that I do agree on is that as it is lacking in a little bit of atmosphere, but I think it's lacking in more of kind of that sci-fi kind of like Black Ops 3 type of style. In terms of the lore implications, I'm not going to give any spoilers, but this is a much more impactful story lore-wise than any other Call of Duty in the past in these recent like new years. Like it's much more impactful than Cold War, Vanguard, or Modern Warfare Z. If you want to know what I'm talking about, just look at the Terminus Easter egg cutscene. The only negatives that I have for zombies is one, the armor plates. Having to manually put on armor plates just feels like Warzone. It would be much better if there was a unique function with the armor. Like for example, let's just say you had a shield and the shield was your armor, and for a quick second you had to take your shield out and like hit it with a hammer or something. Like I don't know, just anything other than a Warzone animation and feeling would have been like 100 times better. But overall, I do think the armor system is much better than Cold War. With Cold War, you had to always like go back, buy your armor with salvage. It was super tedious having to run back to the armory. Having it as wall buys also makes it feel better. I just think it's a much better like way to do it, but still there is more to be improved on. Now I don't think armor doesn't kill it for me. In my opinion, I am gonna play this zombies experience a lot. Zombies, in my opinion, is fucking amazing. I'm gonna play a lot this year, but you know, those are just some negatives. One other negative that I can think of right now is the idle time. Now here's the thing about the idle time, is it is total idle time. If you are playing, you have 15 minutes to pause, and I do get why this is a thing because you are running on online servers. The problem with this being a 15-minute thing is that it's for your entire experience until you leave. So if you have a time where you like, you know, need to go to the bathroom, you leave for 5 minutes, you come back, and then you leave again, guess what? Now you only have 10 minutes out of your original 15 minutes. And I do not think any way that these go back up. I think it's just permanent. Like, hey, if you lose this 15 minutes in any fucking way while you're pausing, or if you're just trying to change settings, it is just gone until you leave that match. Now, the good thing about this, and a great alternative, is you do have save and quit. And in my opinion, if they didn't have save and quit for solo play, and you just had it so solos, oh my god, you only get 15 minutes to play and then you can just get kicked out and lose your progress, I think that would be completely fucked. But the save and quit feature does save the experience a lot. Now, of course, there is a catch to the save and quit feature. You can't be like, you know, in a fight, you can't be getting hit. So as long as you aren't doing those things, I think it's a really good idea. It's a really good feature. My only problem with it is that I just feel like in some type of form or like over time, you should be able to regain your idle time. I do get why they don't want to do this, because it's just like, oh, here's 15 minutes. The 15 minutes are up. I'm just going to pause again and then get another 15 minutes. I totally get why they're doing that, but just have a system. Like if I pause for 5 minutes and then I play for another 30 minutes, I should have again 15 minutes to pause again. There's no reason why, if I'm doing a round 100 in one sitting, that I have to save and quit the game just to be able to pause. I think that's a little bullshit. And I also heard that there is some problems with the save and pause feature, that when you do come back, that Easter egg progress gets gets reset. I don't know how true that is, and I think it's only if you're on a round that hasn't been saved. So if you're on like round 20 and you did some progress on an Easter egg, you're gonna have to flip it to round 21 in order for that progress to save. I don't think that's a big deal or anything. I think that's fine. I haven't played the campaign yet. I'm gonna save that later for when I finish Dark Matter and so on. But overall, I'm having like a really good time with this game. I do think this is one of the best Call of Duties that we've had. It's one of those experiences where I'm waking up in the morning super early on no sleep and trying to just play the game immediately. You know, it makes me feel like a really young kid again. And to me, I really enjoy that. I'm loving this. I'm having a good experience. I will have like a more in-depth, fully thought out guide with notes and so on. I'm kind of just like going off of my head with the ideas that I have. If you like this game, let me know what are your thoughts. What do you like about it? What do you not like about it? What are some issues about it? I do think for this year of Call of Duty that it is going to be a pretty good year. And if you want to try it out on Game Pass, I greatly encourage you to. But of course, if you want to hear more about the game, hear my thoughts about the game, feel free to leave a like and come back on another video. I'm going to be trying to make a video on Black Ops 6 almost every single day as much as I can. Sometimes things come up though and I get a little bit busy, but most importantly, what do you think about this game? I'm having a great time. I'm sorry that there was no face cam today, and yeah, that's going to be it for me today. Also, I think I'm going to release this video around Sunday when the Niners end up playing. If the Niners lose to the Cowboys, I think I just might delete my channel. I'm not even kidding. I cannot take if we lose to that fucking team. Anyways, I hope you all have a great day. Enjoy the weekend, and I'll see you all later.